Hi, in this video we learn about the theory of separation of powers. If you find the video useful, please like, comment and share. Let's start from the basics. Broadly, there are three functions of a government. The law-making function, that is the legislative function. The executive function, which means the function to enforce the law or put the law into operation. And the judicial function, which means the function to interpret the law if it has been broken. In the early times, all power would vest in one monarch or king. The same king would make the law, enforce the law, and decide the punishment for violation of the law. He was one in all and all in one. A lot of affairs would run on whims and fancies of the king. In the 16th century, Montesquieu, a French scholar, came up with a theory which said that concentration of power in one person would result in tyranny. If the monarch had all three powers in his hand, people's liberty would suffer. He said the solution would be separation of governmental functions, which implies that three functions should not be concentrated in a single entity and should be separated into three different independent organs of the government. Theory of separation means that none of the three organs of the government can exercise any power which properly belongs to the other two. If there is a system of checks and balances where one organ keeps a check on the other two organs by making sure that they don't misuse the power, the government can run harmoniously and smoothly. The functioning of the constitutional bodies in India is based on theory of separation of powers. In India, the Parliament is the legislative organ. Its function is to make laws. The Parliament cannot enforce laws, nor can it encroach upon the function of the judiciary and act as court. The executive organ is the President and the Council of Ministers with Prime Minister at its head. The executive is responsible for enforcing the laws made by the legislature. It cannot venture into making of laws and to deciding cases. The judicial organ is the Supreme Court. Its function is to interpret the laws made by the legislature and decide upon the actions taken by the executive. The judiciary cannot usurp the function of the legislature and start making laws, nor can it take any administrative decisions like the executive. India being a federal nation, a similar model of separation of powers exists at the state level. We have the state legislature, which is the Legislative Assembly and the Legislative Council, the state executive, which is the governor and the Council of Ministers, and the state judiciary, which consists of the high courts and the lower judiciary. The doctrine of separation of powers has been adopted in most of the democratic countries, including India. What the doctrine means is that no organ should usurp the functions and powers of the other organs. But applying the doctrine in a strict manner is not ideal, as no organ of the government can work with absolute independence. The three organs of the government should work in coordination with each other if the government should function smoothly.